What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Titans sector. If you're a Titans fan, this is the place to be. The takes are hot, the passion is real, and the opinions are sure to collide. My name is Van. As always, I'm joined over here by my man Ghost, and we are really excited to have you guys in for what we think is going to be a super interesting and very intriguing pod today. A great discussion on one of our star players coming into the first season. Before we do that, I just want to take a moment to remind everybody, please hit that like button. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, make sure you do that. Turn notifications on. It'll let you know every single time we post new content to the channel, which is every Monday and Thursday morning. So with that said, Ghost, what are we talking about today?
Today, like you said, be Carnell Tate, first round draft choice of the Tennessee Titans. So we're going to go about this in a way where we are going to look at first round Buckeye wide receivers, and we are going to look at their Ohio State careers, and we are going to also look at their rookie year in the NFL and see if we can extrapolate maybe a prediction at the end when we discuss Carnell Tate. And I'm going to go ahead and share this, and we are starting with Santonio Holmes. So Santonio Holmes, drafted by the Steelers and Ohio State, he had 140 receptions, 2,295 receiving yards. In some of these stat packages, I did add all-purpose yards. If it was a sizable amount, it does include the receiving yards. So everybody knows the rules. So all-purpose yards looking at 3,123, and he had 25 touchdowns. First year with the Steelers is 49 receptions, 824 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Not quite as prolific as he was in college to start. Ended up being a real legend there for the Steelers, though.
Yeah, without a doubt. Santonio Holmes, man. I mean, like you said, isn't the picture of this catch like the
That's
catch?
the catch, man.
Yeah.
Like, it might be one of the best catches in history. Like if you think about the scenario, the situation, the Super Bowl, man, I remember watching it. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, look, all of us NFL fans, even if we're not Titans fans, I assume we're all watching the Super Bowl, right? So, I mean, regardless, I'm not a Steelers fan. I don't like them at all. Didn't like Big Ben at all. But yeah, what a moment. Santonio Holmes was an extremely productive receiver in the NFL, and it's funny because I kind of forgot he was a Buckeye. I kind of forgot that's where
This
he
was
came
before
from.
Buckeye receivers were in vogue.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, and that's valid. But until we did this practice here with comparing Buckeye receivers in first year in the NFL, I was like, wow, Santonio Holmes. Like I totally forgot about that. I thought about Joey Galloway, but of course we're going way back to to a little bit further back in the day. But yeah, Santonio Holmes was an extremely productive receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great, reliable target for Big Ben in the years I remember with the Steelers, it was the bus, Jerome Bettis, the running back. They had a strong, powerful running game, but it was an air raid offense. It really was. And that's how they ran it. And Holmes was an extremely important piece of that puzzle for those successful Steelers seasons. So that's a great, we are talking some years back, but that's a great look if we're thinking about what can Carnell Tate do from a production standpoint.
Yeah, 824 yards, man. I mean, for a rookie, you can't really sneeze at that. But I think something that you can pull from this as we start looking at these wide receivers is their entire body of work. It didn't always translate immediately, but their entire body of work ended up being good. With 49 receptions, 824 yards, and 2 touchdowns, I don't know that I'd be upset if that's what Carnell Tate got this year. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
As far as Ohio State wide receivers go, like I said, this was before the big run on them later on, the Brian Hartline years.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see, though, as we go through this, like how it translated to the NFL in their rookie season.
One thing that I'll say here before we move on to the next one is that I would be disappointed if Carnell Tate put out this stat line and only had 2 trips to the end zone. I think that
2
speaks
trips to
for
the end zone, yeah.
Yeah, I think that speaks for Santonio Holmes in regards to the other wide receivers that were on that team. Well, look, I'm not some kind of a, Rolodex here of information, but I remember Plaxico Burress on that Steelers squad, Hines Ward on those, Steelers squads. So Holmes didn't have to come in and be the wide receiver one, which I assume, I'm not looking at historical data, I assume that's why we see 2 touchdowns there.
Mhm.
And I think for Carnell Tate, we need him to be a little bit more productive than like your wide receiver three, so to speak. And 49
We
receptions
don't
for
have a Plaxico,
824.
that's for sure.
No, no.
Unless you consider Ridley or Plaxico, which maybe.
Yeah, Plaxico is a big dude.
Yeah,
But anyway, that was my last point here for Santonio's comparison.
absolutely. So we'll go ahead and move on to old Ted Ginn.
Ted Ginn,
Drafted
man.
with a busted up ankle, that guy was.
What a flashback.
Right? Yeah, I was joking the other day about like when I was creating these graphics, the resolutions crack me up. Like as we move through time, yeah, like it is not HD back then. So,
Yeah.
uh, so Ted Ginn. So when he was in college, holy smokes, man. So I've watched all these guys. So I'm a solid source for their college years. And man, Ted Ginn, he's one of the few guys. He had like CJ speed. You know what I mean? He could
Yeah.
reverse the field, and it was not a problem for him. Like
Yeah.
if he ran this way and got everybody's momentum going that way, he could flip it on a dime, go back the other way, and take it to the house. So he did that routinely. So his Ohio State career is 135 receptions, 1,943 receiving yards, 4,068 all-purpose yards, and
Crazy.
26 touchdowns.
Crazy.
4,068 all-purpose yards. Man, guy was a machine. He was so fun to watch. Him and Troy Smith. I will never forget him going down. He first touch of the game, ran in for a touchdown. Team jumps on him, hurts him in the end zone, and we just get absolutely hammered in the championship game.
That's like a Martin Gramatica injury. You remember that guy, Martin Gramatica, the kicker?
I don't, but man, I'm sure if it hurt as bad as that did, I feel for those people. So his first year, still pretty impressive on the all-purpose yards. Again, he when he was drafted, he had a hurt foot, so I'm sure there was some healing time in there. But 34 receptions, 420 yards, 2,077 all-purpose yards, and 3 touchdowns in year one for Ted Ginn.
Yeah, Ted Ginn, like you said, there's a couple of things here about my historical knowledge with Ohio State. They've always been a big college in a big conference, and they've been a pipeline to the NFL for many, many years, regardless of their recent success. But as an Alabama fan, I pretty much don't like anybody. I'm just gonna be honest. We just don't like anybody. But I do watch a lot of college football, and I did even back in Ted Ginn's day. But I do remember Ted being quite an explosive special teams asset, and it was interesting because I remember he had a lot of promise, a lot of hope being drafted by the Dolphins that he was going to come in there and make a big impact. I don't recall offhand who his quarterback was at that point in history, but I know that, and correct me if I'm wrong, you might have a better knowledge of this. I don't think his career worked out as well as they would have hoped.
No, I mean he ended up being like a prolific special teams guy. Kind of like a Devin Hester, I would say. Like he didn't have the greatest receiving numbers all the time. He was reliable, you know what I mean? But he was not going in and being wide receiver one, except for early in his career where they tried and it just didn't work out. But
yeah, and the interesting thing here on a comparison as we look towards the future of this pod and talking about Carnell Tate is Carnell is not going to have special team impact.
nope.
He is a one lane, one focus guy. We already have special teams taken care of with DK. So, you got to wonder, like with Ted Ginn, how did the special teams impact his receiving chops? Again, who else was on that Dolphins team? I don't know that as well. But yeah, it's a little bit long time ago, for some fans, they probably think this is a long, long time ago, but it's a good comparison. It's good.
Absolutely. So we'll go ahead and move on. So I think this is hilarious because it's the Colts. first off, and they
Yeah.
get the one like Buckeye wide receiver that most people are probably like, who is that guy? I mean, his
Yeah.
head was balder than mine,
Yeah.
and he was such a strange guy. Very reliable for the Buckeyes, by the way. Not, I mean, his and obviously his Ohio State career was not terribly awesome. You know what I mean? I mean, 13 touchdowns, 1,286 yards, 87 receptions. He was a guy that was like, he was like your reliable backup plan. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
So he was always there. He was going to catch it, but he wasn't in the upper end of the wide receiver room. But that guy slept in like an oxygen chamber and stuff like that. Just really weird stuff. Yeah, if you look it up, you might be able to find it. He ended up going into politics, and I do not believe his career panned out. Um,
Wow.
but his first year, he was kind of had the same role, man. He wasn't the wide receiver one there, reliable, middle of the pack guy. Liked him. Obviously, you always like your teams, guys, like with Ohio State, but
Yeah. Yeah.
this is one of the more lackluster
Yes.
wide receivers to come out of Ohio State for
Yeah,
sure.
well, a couple of things right off the rip. Like hey, excellent graphic work, by the way. Anybody watching, just know that Ghost is our graphic god on this podcast, and these graphics are killer. So props to you. Second point is this graphic cracks me up because it's like you just used, it's like, let's just change the jersey, same pose. It's amazing. The dude is crazy consistent, which I think you said to me. Here's the thing. This is one that we included for relevance because it fits the categorical filter, if you will, that we're using, but it's not relevant to the comparison to Carnell Tate, in my opinion. He is a completely different wide receiver, right? And like you
Mhm.
said, at Ohio State, he's probably used as that relief valve type guy. Had a nice career at Ohio State, and Colts year one, 37 receptions, 576, got in the end zone 3 times. Sounds like a role player to me. And I hate the Colts. I do remember this guy, and I just remember I don't think he did much. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like you said, he didn't do much.
It's crazy he was drafted in the first round. I mean, like when I was doing my research and creating the graphic, I was like, wait a minute. Gonzalez was drafted in the first round. Must have been a weak year because
Was was
because
was Chris Ballard still the Colts GM back then? Because it wouldn't be nearly as crazy.
yeah, and like I said, good guy, reliable. It's crazy to me that he was drafted in the first round. Like I wouldn't even put him on. Like you see these Makai Lemons and
Oh yeah.
Jordan Tyson and all these guys, and it's just like wild that was the choice. But hey, you know what? We're not the Colts, and we're glad that they do stupid stuff like
True.
that.
Keep drafting them. Keep drafting them, Colts. I will say this about that point. I don't know. I can't recall the year he was drafted or what the wide receiver class looked like in that year. Didn't do that research before getting on here. But it also speaks, I think, to the overall increase of talent in the college game. You know,
Oh yeah,
and I think we're seeing that exponentially year after year after year. So, we have to take that into account as well.
absolutely.
So who do we got next?
Ooh, Garrett
Now we're
Wilson.
talking. Now we're
Yes,
talking.
yes. Ohio State career: 143 receptions, 2,213 receiving yards, 2,504 all-purpose yards, 24 touchdowns. Goes on to the Jets his rookie year and blasted onto the scene, man. 83
Yeah.
receptions, 1,103 yards, 4 touchdowns. And I think this is really kind of the start of it becoming like a thing. You know what I mean? I think people are like, Ohio, it kind of became like a running joke, like Ohio State wide receivers. I
Yeah.
think it was LSU more so than Ohio
Right.
State.
Right.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson, man, he was fun to watch at Ohio State and clearly fun to watch on a terrible Jets team.
Yeah. I also think this is the start in regards to our comps here of what we can, in my mind, really look to expect and hope to see out of Carnell Tate in his
Hmm.
rookie season. Garrett Wilson was outstanding at Ohio State. I mean, look at those career statistics, right? He has a bit of a similar framework of Carnell in regards to kind of his body type, and he has been in a horrible situation in New York, which
Hmm.
really, which player isn't? But Garrett Garrett would love to have Cam Ward as his quarterback. Am I right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
and look what he was doing with, in my opinion, lesser talented quarterback play at the Jets. Um, I I just think, and obviously,
Inconsistent. I mean, he had a bunch of quarterbacks. It's like
oh
it was like who was
yeah,
going to throw to him. You know what I mean? So
yeah, absolutely. And I know he's been unhappy at times throughout that. I mean, at least I've seen it, through media and reports. I don't follow the Jets or NFL teams like I follow the Titans as closely. But with that said, man, what a great year one he had there. And that's kind of what I'm looking at. That's kind of what I'm looking at. That's a possibility. I think for Carnell Tate somewhere in that range. It does surprise me. 83 receptions with only 4 touchdowns. I don't remember how many. I don't really remember Garrett Wilson's first season, but that's a little interesting. That's a lot of yards and only 4 trips to the end zone.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, he's still an elite wide receiver, man. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised he's still a Jet. I'm just gonna be honest.
I thought he'd be traded by now. To be honest with you, especially when they were going on that trading spree, getting rid of Sauce Gardner and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
it does surprise me he's still there, but they see something in him, which I don't blame them for that. He's clearly talented. So
Yeah, either traded or demanding to be traded is kind of where,
yeah,
you know? I
right.
mean, that's kind of where I was thinking. Because I don't really see it getting much better for Garrett Wilson this year with old resurgent retread Geno Smith as his quarterback either.
Decision to have his quarterback, but you know what? Whatever. Let's run it back.
Let's run it back. All right, so who do we got next?
Chris Olave,
Okay.
Ohio State career, 176 receptions, 2,711 yards, 35 touchdowns. Year one with the Saints, he's at 72 receptions, 1,042 yards, 4 touchdowns. Not too far off from Garrett. Um, man,
Very
this
true.
guy. You said you went to the Saints game. So
Yep.
what's that like seeing Olave play in real time in person?
That's a great question. He's much more of a presence than I expected, right?
Mhm.
And when you see these guys in person, it's always different than the view from the couch. I mean, perspective is everything. But he is a big person. He's a big guy. And we were there early, so we watched the teams warm up. We spent time on the Titans side, we spent time on the Saints side just watching everybody. And man, athletic, fast, smooth route running. He's good. I mean, you can tell this guy has a lot of really elite chops. So he's impressive in person, very impressive.
Mhm. And all these guys have athletic ability. I think it's important to put that out there. But one thing that had an uptick with Brian Hartline was he literally just churns out NFL ready wide receivers. Like it's all technique. Like they're all like you said, smooth, good route runners. That's why I wasn't like super concerned about the slower 40 time for
Yeah,
Carnell Tate.
yeah,
I don't personally think it matters unless you're looking for the straight line deep threat. You know what I mean? They're not going to be playing this game in a straight line. There's going to
correct.
be cuts. They're going to need to make space at the top of their routes and things like that. So, also, I do think Carnell Tate is deceptively fast, but I think that big thing with these Buckeye wide receivers is that technique. I think that is more so important for people like Devontae Adams, where he screams that from the rooftops. Like he was not the most athletic, like physically gifted wide receiver, but when he got into learning his routes and his footwork and all that stuff, that's what you get with these Ohio State wide receivers.
Yeah, and you see it immediately, like you said, you see it in the very first year that they come in under Hartline's tutelage, and this recent crop that we're now going through here of Ohio State receivers. You see the fact that they come into the NFL game ready for it, and I totally agree with you. And not to spoil, if anybody's watching this, they probably know who's going to be coming up in a slide here. But the speed thing was never a factor for me either, because just because you're the fastest cat doesn't mean you're going to be the best receiver. Look at Ted Ginn Jr. earlier.
Mhm.
So I think that really it's impressive how ready these guys come out of that college game and how they're coached. And Carnell Tate has spoken to that since he's been on the Titans, since he's drafted and been picked. So clearly it works, and I'm excited. I'm excited
Yeah.
to see what he can do on the heels of this great lineage that they're building in the NFL.
Absolutely. And like, what are the odds that Carnell Tate's the one that doesn't? You know what I mean? And when you think about the like
Yeah,
consistency of these wide receivers that come to the NFL, it feels like it's a very high likelihood that he's a high performing wide receiver in the NFL.
I agree. Yeah,
We'll see, man.
100%. All right, who's next?
On to the next.
There it is.
Jackson Smith and Jigba. Look at that guy. So I tell you what, I mean, he had decent stats in college. He was hurt a lot up here, by the way. So
Hmm,
I was surprised.
that's right. He
Yeah.
was.
So I was surprised going into the draft and during the draft how highly sought after he was. Don't get me wrong; we always wanted him to play because he is very very talented, as evidenced as since his rookie year how he's performed there with the Seahawks.
Yes. Yes,
He's an
absolutely.
absolute monster there, man. He's one of the best in the NFL. So,
Yeah.
um, but his Ohio State career is 110 receptions, 1,698 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Year one with the Seahawks is 63 receptions, 628 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Now, I think this is an interesting case, this one. Not a ton of production like some of these Ohio State wide receivers in college. Clearly had his flashes, and you could see his talent on tape. Go to Seahawks year one, he's not really blowing the doors off. You know what I mean? 4 touchdowns, 628 yards, 63 receptions, kind of middling. Yeah,
Yep.
I think you're concerned. I don't think you're like, oh man, this guy's a bust, but I think you're a little concerned with that coming
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
But look what he became. And I think that's
Correct.
key when you think about a Carnell Tate or an Ayo Manor or
Mhm.
even DK.
Mhm.
Um, these guys can have a huge boost to their production in their year 2 or 3. I think it was Nico Collins we were talking about. He didn't have his breakout till year 3. So
Yep,
don't give
that's
up on these
correct.
guys. I mean, like you see this, don't be like, oh, Ohio State wide receiver. And if he comes in and has this type of year 1, don't tap out yet. I think the best is yet to come. But we'll see.
Yeah. That's a great point. And to speak further to that with JSN, when he came in, we're talking about a Seahawks team that had DK Metcalf, as their main target.
Yep.
And also that speaks to, I think, kind of like I mentioned with Santonio Holmes at the beginning of the pod, what's your target share look like, and what is the team that's drafted you first round or otherwise? What do they really need you to be, right? Where are you fitting into that wide receiver room, and what's your role? And without going back and remembering history and looking at the tape, I would bet that it's pretty safe to say that Jason's role and talent has expanded. His opportunity has expanded since his rookie season. And he's shown that pedigree that he had and that everybody
Mhm.
believed in him. And look what he did, man. Like you said last year, arguably the best receiver in the entire NFL. I mean, he was up there with Puka Nakua, just from a performance yard statistic standpoint, and he wins the Super Bowl. He's incredibly consistent. And I'll tell you, as a Titans fan, I love watching JSN play. Watching him run routes in that system that Kubiak had last year with Seattle was beautiful, man. I mean, like,
Mhm.
it shows to me, when you get the right OC and the right talent, what can be done. And
Mhm.
and who would have thought Sam Darnold was going to be a Super Bowl champion? So,
Right.
just, I mean, the reason I bring that up is because, kind of peeking into our own house here with Brian Dable, and with a new system and the right OC with the right guys in the right place. So clearly JSN is elite, and he's absolutely elite.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I like JSN, and like you said, he's one of the ones that kind of pops off when you're watching the games as like kind of like CJ or somebody like that. That just like it looks so effortless. Like
Absolutely.
you're like that's what like real talent and hard work looks like, and you can see it's been built over time. It's not just like a whatever they say, a flash in the pan or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so no, yeah, man, these Buckeye wide receivers. That's why I keep joking in all these pods. Like we got a Buckeye wide receiver because man, they're legit. And I know a lot of people don't like the Buckeyes, but I bet
Oh,
you're
they're
happy you got a Buckeye wide
yeah,
receiver.
yeah, yeah, yeah. 100% I am. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we will go ahead and move on to the next guy who I think gets a little bit too much flack, by the way. Um, I think his expectations were so high.
They
You've
were.
got him living in the shadow of his father, who was a NFL great. Um, I mean, but when you look at his Ohio State career, 155 receptions, 2,613 yards, 32 touchdowns. I think you're going to 32, by the way. Think about that for a second.
Yeah. Yeah. I was wondering if you're going to skim past that. I'm like, holy cow.
That is crazy production for college. And
Yeah.
he's a beast. I think he is going to be a beast in the NFL. But his first year with the Cardinals, 62 receptions, 885 yards, 8 touchdowns. It's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, it's not what you thought he was going to get. It's not a Garrett Wilson type first year. More touchdowns, twice as many touchdowns.
Yep.
But I think he gets a lot of flack because of who he is and who his dad is. You know what I mean? I think you expect like 1,000 plus. But I think he will continue to grow and improve, man. He's a physical specimen. If you've watched him play.
Oh, my gosh.
Some of his catches in college, man, were unreal. Some of the ways he could like contort in the air, it's just incredible ball player.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr., when he came out, it reminds me of how they're talking about Jeremiah Smith now at Ohio State. You know, talking about like, man, this is a transformative type talent at wide receiver, real high, guaranteed high draft pick. And like you mentioned, his father, which is like Hall of Fame, right? Clearly there's expectations there, but he set it up for himself. I mean, that production at Ohio State is incredible. And I remember watching him, he dominated. You know, he has actually added on to his physicality. It's kind of like how we see Io Manor from his rookie season. Now we see him in camp, and he's just, he's ripped. He's leaned out, but he's ripped. Harrison has done that. He's kind of built up that frame, but he's a bigger guy. He's a bigger target than Tate, just, right off the rip. And you look at what he's had to deal with. I made the same comment about Garrett Wilson. Don't you think Marvin Harrison Jr. would have loved to have a Cam Ward the whole time?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, no knock on Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is Kyler Murray, but like, I remember that old Dennis Green quote, Kyler Murray is who we think he is, I mean, like we've seen Kyler Murray, and I don't think we're going to get anything else that's going to shock us, and he dealt with that last year with Jacoby Brissett, for goodness sakes. So I agree with you. I think Harrison's taken kind of a beating in some ways in the media. I don't think it's really deserved. I think that year one was an excellent year one. I mean, you get in the end zone 8 times, 885 yards. I'd be elated if Carnell Tate hits that number. So I think he is an elite wide receiver in my mind, and I think he has more in the tank for that team. So
Absolutely.
Just continuing that pipeline, man.
Absolutely, man. I mean, there haven't been many duds, and I didn't leave out any first-round wide receivers, so that
says a lot.
So promising.
Yes. Yeah, that says a lot.
Now, here's a stud. Emeka Egbuka.
Yep.
Ohio State career, 205 receptions, 2,868 yards, 3,694 all-purpose yards, and 26 touchdowns. What a monster.
That's amazing.
Man, yeah. He was so reliable in college. I really wanted the Titans to pick him up. I know we weren't in a position to get him as far as roster building was concerned. You know what I mean? But man, what an absolute legend for the Buckeyes. Buccaneers year one, 63 receptions, 938 yards, and 6 touchdowns, which is nothing to sneeze at. That's a good, almost 1,000-yard receiver, 6 touchdowns. Just as reliable in the NFL as he was in college, and just good hands, man. Good hands and technique. He's one you watch, and he just pops off the field as somebody who's just like one step ahead around his peers.
And there you go again with the trend about good hands, right, and good route running. I mean, that literally seems to be a trend, and that's something that we're saying about Carnell Tate already, in my mind. Egbuka,
Carnell Tate's like banana hand. He's like Nosferatu. Yeah. He's got like literal when it looks like he's holding a kid's football in that one picture from early on when he first got to the facilities.
Like it's me now holding a kid's Nerf ball. Yeah. It's what it is. Those certainly help, those mitts. I agree with you. I was really high on Ibuka coming out of college, and I thought he was great, man. I thought he was great in college, and I was thinking, man, I wish the Titans would pick him up because I felt like he had a really high ceiling in the NFL. And the interesting thing about him, right, he has a quarterback in Baker Mayfield that, hey, he's going to be on the Netflix show with Cam Ward, as a featured quarterback that's coming up in July. But also, Baker kind of reminds me a bit of the Cam Ward mentality from a gunslinger, risk taker, strong arm type. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of where my comparison ends. But Abuka wasn't really considered the main target on that Tampa Bay team either. So he is a great example, along with the rest of these guys, of what we can expect to see, what we can hope to see, but what the trending history shows us through Carnell Tate's production in his rookie season, because
Yeah,
this guy's been great.
absolutely, man. And he looks good in that
That
creamsicle.
creamsicle.
Oh man, it's a nice uni from a uni guy. It's a very nice uni. So
Yeah, the throwback uniforms for me, the top is the Oilers, and then between these guys and even the old throwback Denver Bronco uniforms, I really have a spot for. So I
don't
love
sleep on the
those.
Seahawks throwbacks though. That
Oh no,
silver
those are always
helmet,
great.
they're
Yeah,
very good. But those ones you just listed, top tier,
yeah.
absolutely top tier.
Thank you.
All right, man. So I'm going to go ahead and go to it.
Let's get it.
Speaking of nice uniforms,
Oh man,
dude, the graphic looks so nice on our Titan podcast. So,
it's beautiful.
um, Ohio State career for Carnell Tate: 121 receptions, 1,872 yards, 14 touchdowns. Don't have a year one. We're not there yet, so that's why we're going to make
Yep.
some predictions. So, just talk about Carnell Tate here a little bit. Man, the guy catches everything,
Yeah.
especially on deep contested passes. He makes it look so easy. And I think it's because those big hands, man. I think that's a big part of it. It's just like he just snags it out of the air. It's kind of crazy to watch. One thing about Carnell Tate, you hear a lot of people talk about his 40 time. And I'm going to mention that again. I know I touched on it earlier. I think if you take all the best wide receivers in the history of the NFL, I think you're going to find more of them have a 40 time closer to Carnell Tate's than that Ross guy who set the record that one year, or
Yeah.
Calvin Johnson or whatever. I
Yeah.
think you're going to have some unicorns, but I think a lot of those super fast track guys didn't really translate if you really think about it.
Right.
It was that technique that we are talking about with these Ohio State Buckeyes. And I think that technique is going to show on a Carnell Tate, because he runs like some really, really smooth routes, and he's got those big hands, and he can beat you deep too. So I'm really excited for him. I'm going to go ahead and let you talk about Carnell Tate a little bit, and then we'll
Yeah.
do our predictions.
Cool. Yeah. Man, you touched on a lot of great points about him. I totally agree. I think it's impressive to see how Carnell catches in traffic, how he catches in contest, how he high points. That's something to me that you almost can't really measure, but when you see a wide receiver that has the ability consistently to, at any given point, at anywhere on the field, but especially deep passes, be able to gauge that ball correctly and then go up in contest and high point it at the right moment, at the right time, and come down with the ball. That is something that's very special. It's a special skill. Not everybody has that to do it consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed that he did that in college. And we've seen all those highlight reels, and freaking, they're great. And I agree with you. You look at history with wide receivers, and you can just start popping off different names. Like whenever I was younger, Isaac Bruce, Marvin Harrison, Hines Ward, which we've mentioned a few of these guys already in the pod. And you think about what was their 50 time,
Mm-hmm.
So I think the thing that you really want in a wide receiver is what we have kind of spelled out that we're, that we're hopeful for in this pod, which is you're hopeful for somebody that has elite route running, somebody that has elite hands, somebody that has precision in their route running, and can go into those contested situations in a good offensive scheme. I think that Carnell is set up for massive success this year with Brian Dable. I think he has a great opportunity. And so far, it looks, just like you said with the Brian Hartline thing, it looks like he has that setup. And we've heard Dable talk about, man, I've been around a lot of guys, but this guy's picking it up faster than anybody, you know? And
Mhm.
man, how great of a thing to hear as a Titans fan to know that he's picking up the scheme, the offense. Because
Right.
there's also this viral clip when he got drafted, and I forget the podcast or the episode or whose it was, but everybody should remember it was Malik Neighbors and Micah Parsons. They're sitting on a couch talking about the draft picks, and Malik talks about how he wanted him to come to LSU, but then he goes into, well, yeah, I played for Dable. It's a tough system. It's gonna be hard to learn. He's a smart, Carnell's a smart kid, but it's gonna be tough to learn. And
He
here we
also
are
said he's
now.
not a wide receiver one, very
Correct.
blatantly.
Correct. And here we are now, and we have the guy that actually is teaching him saying he's learning it faster. So that brings me a lot of hope. I didn't mean to belabor the point, but that certainly brings me a lot of hope. I am really excited about Carnell Tate, and I think that we have a real opportunity to see a true wide receiver one here for this organization that we haven't seen, since AJ Brown, really.
You got a comp before we do our predictions? That'll be fun.
Uh, I don't have a comp in regards to outside. I think if I was going to comp inside of the pod as to what we've covered already,
Mhm.
I see Carnell fitting into that Garrett Wilson mold as a kind of a wide receiver, something that we can look at. I think Carnell is very reliable in the red zone. I see Garrett as that in his NFL career. I think Garrett has good hands. Carnell has good hands. They have a similar, like I said, a similar framework. So if I was comping Ohio State receivers, that's the one that I think fits closely to my expectations of Carnell.
For a comp for me, I have always thought this, just watching him build, size, even like in his how he walks and moves, man. DeAndre Hopkins
Oh
catches
yeah,
everything,
yeah,
good route running. Do I think he's going to be DeAndre Hopkins? I don't know. That's not what I'm saying. This is like the Pat Mahomes comps. Just from if you take the names out of it and just watch them on the football
sure,
field,
yep.
I can see DeAndre Hopkins in Carnell Tate, and we can only hope that that's what we get is that type of career because man, that guy was a machine, and we got him in Tennessee for a little bit, and it was
We
fun to
did,
watch then.
we did. But in all honesty, we got it on the wrong side. And we're
Mhm.
talking about the DeAndre we saw at the beginning of his career. That's a good comp. I like that
Yeah,
comp.
absolutely. All right, man. So we're going to go ahead and go to Titans year one, which obviously has not happened yet. But my prediction is 60 receptions, 900 yards, and I made a change.
Oh, okay.
10 touchdowns. I think he's
Oh,
going to have 10
yes.
touchdowns. I had 8. I bumped it up to 10. I think he's going to be targeted deep in the red zone quite a bit. And I think
Okay.
he's going to catch it.
And you said 60 receptions?
60 receptions, 900 yards.
Yeah, so you're not far off. So I'm feeling a little bit like 70 to 75. I'll stick with 70. So let's say 75 receptions. I'm going to hit 1,023 yards. I'm just feeling that number.
Break it.
1,023 yards.
Like the 4 digits.
Yeah. And I think 7 touchdowns is where I'm landing. So, for me, I think looking at, and not to say that it's direct correlation, but we've seen through our presentation here about the production ability, right, that these receivers have in year one. I think Carnell Tate is set up for that success right off the rip. I think that, there could be an argument for the 1,000 yards and even maybe to your 900. There could be an argument that this wide receiver room might be a little too packed. Maybe there's too many hands. And man, wouldn't that be? That's actually a great problem to have if that's the
Mhm.
actual reality. But I really feel like we are going to see the chemistry that we've seen from Cam and Carnell already. I think we're just going to see that grow and grow. And the last thing I want to say about it is this. I think Cam is somebody who, when he trusts a guy that he's throwing to, he's absolutely looking his way. And I don't think that's
Mhm.
to a detriment. I don't
Yeah.
think that's the detriment of the play. But look at what he did with Restrepo in Miami. And that's Xavier, So and no diss to him. I love Xavier Restrepo. But I really think that once Cam and Carnell start getting their mojo early in the season, I think Cam's going to be feeding him that ball. And I think we're going to see dividends. I think that ball's going to be moving now. So I think he's going to break the 1,000 yards, man. I think he's going to do it.
Absolutely. To that point, and this is what I'll close on with him. I know a lot of people are worried about that wide receiver 2 title at Ohio State. You got to understand, he's behind a Jeremiah Smith. And I think that means to me, and watching him, I just think that means that there's more to come. because Jeremiah Smith was taking some of those opportunities. I don't think that means he's worse because he was 2 to Jeremiah Smith.
Amen.
I think that is a nuance that people that could get lost. That people are like, oh, he's wide receiver 2. Clearly, he's a wide receiver 2, and he's never ever going to be a wide receiver 1. I think when you're under an elite talent like a Jeremiah Smith, you might end up being a number 2. But there is probably a window of opportunity that's not coming your way for you to prove it. So I think that could mean that there's actually more for him to prove and probably more room for him to grow. So I'm so excited for Carnell Tate.
That's an excellent point, and I think it ties back to what we've talked about in this pod with JSN's rookie year and even Santonio Holmes' rookie year. But more relevant to probably everyone watching is JSN. You're coming in like he came into the NFL. It's not college. You're not behind Jeremiah Smith, but he was behind DK Metcalf. He wasn't the main guy, right? So he did what he had to do. And look at, like you said, JSN's ascension in his skill and his talent. That's a fantastic point that you just made. And I think, man, I'm bought into that point. I think we're going to see that with Carnell from Ohio State to Titans year 1. That's
Absolutely,
solid.
man. Excited.
That's solid. Yeah, me too. All right, let's pull the graphic down and let's talk to these people about what they can expect coming up on the Titan sector. We got some exciting episodes coming up in the future for you guys. We're going to be having some special guests coming on. And man, we certainly hope that you guys will continue to tune in because we are excited to bring you some really unique content with some insights and things we're excited for. Ghost, do you have anything for everybody before we dip out today?
Nope. I'm good. That was a fun conversation. Look forward for the conversation in the comments. It was fun.
Yeah, it was. Let us know what you guys think. What do y'all think about the Ohio State pipeline of wide receivers? You know, are they now overtaking? Are they wide receiver you? And let us know where you think that your predictions are for Carnell Tate's production. Do you think Ghost at 900 is crazy, or do you think that I'm crazy at over 1,000? We'd love to hear your feedback and get that feedback from all of you. You can leave it in a comment here on YouTube, or you can find us all the time on X at the Titan Sector. And as a reminder, before we bid you farewell, please hit that like button and subscribe. Share this content with a fellow Titans fan that may not have seen it. We would love to connect with them both here on YouTube and on X. And we're also on TikTok. So if you got a TikTok account, follow us over there. Same name, same game. We appreciate you guys so much. Make sure to tune in every Monday and Thursday for episode drops. We got 2 episodes every week at the Titan Sector. And like I said, we got a lot of exciting content coming in the future. So as always, thank you so much for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you guys next time.